of a sudden I was messing with overlays and stuff, and it just this is where we're at. Like we have no intro, we have no nothing anymore. So I tell you what, this is where we start. Welcome back to the Dutch Endeavor podcast. We're gonna do this, I guess, just for audio. Tonight is gonna be the follow up to the mess we had last week on West of Nowhere. If you guys don't know, I was on the West of Nowhere podcast last week. A lot of fun. They definitely do some things differently than we do over here. But yeah, it was fun. And we're gonna do something that they don't do. They make you watch their whole podcast before they get to their friends. But if you guys haven't checked them out, go to West of Nowhere. And it's nowhere like nowhere. You know, nowhere like knowledge. KNOW. But yeah, I was on there. I had a fun time with Levi and Shane. And I put up a couple of challenges that they have failed immediately. Well, hey, first of all, you guys donated more to them. I mean, through me, but than anyone who's ever put up for this podcast. I'm a little unhappy about that, but I'm not super hurt over it. Also, I told them that I told their listeners no comments, like drive that thing into the ground, and I would give them a heads up on when to do it, and then everything would be okay. And I just for the record, Gemini 6975 AR, you ruined it for everyone. Now they don't get a dime because clearly you don't listen to the podcast. You're just there to comment. And you ruined it for everyone. They get no money now thanks to you. So I hope you feel good about yourself. None of your comments make any sense, and I'm sorry if this is a friend of Shane and Levi's, but yeah, Gemini ruined it for everybody. So blame him. It was a long podcast. It was good though. I think we got Levi and I got pretty deep. He and I are fundamentally different on our views. So I thought it was good for entertainment purposes. Other than that, I don't know what it was good for. We got to start a campaign to get Shane a better setup, camera, background, something. It was scary. I feel like he was in an OR, yelling at people. What else? It was fun though. Like I said, it was a good time. I had talked to Batman for a while. Haven't talked to him in a while. Haven't really talked to Levi, like up close and personal. Ended up doing that. I think it turned out good. So you guys should, when you're done listening to this, go check out West of Nowhere. Subscribe to both. Do all that cool shit. And Jim and I delete your account. You ruined it for them. And I will be tattling on you. Let's see, what else do we have to cover? Nothing really from that. I mean, there's some stuff again. We'll cover the politics later. We're gonna try and Levi and I have been talking. Oh, by the way, side note, Levi can fucking draw. That guy is an artist in every sense of the fucking word. And I don't mean he draws like dumb crap that a monkey could do or your 4-year-old. He can draw. Yours truly is commissioning 2 works from him as we speak. Yeah, like he can really draw. And let me find the the link, and I might post it or I might not. I definitely may not this week because it's, I don't know. Like I said, my OBS just took a shit, and we have no end. We have no beginning. I don't know what's going on. So we're gonna have to redo a couple things when it comes to that. But let me find his link. Okay. So you guys need to go to harrisonartdesigns.wixsite.com. Okay? And you need to buy stuff from him. I don't care whether you have $100 or $1,000. You need to look at some of his stuff and buy it. Not the Nebraska crap. That shit's for fucking losers. I'm sorry, Levi, but we're Bucks fans here, man. We don't do Nebraska. But Harrison, spelled like you would spell Harrison, artdesigns.wix, WIXSITE.com. You gotta go look at his stuff. And you have to purchase things from him. Like this guy should not be doing his day job. And he should not be doing a podcast with Batman. He should be doing art. And some of it is great. Next week, when I do this, I will have some screenshots of his art. I gotta run it by him. But I mean, ridiculously fucking good. And I don't feel bad telling you this because I told him this. His early stuff, because it's all dated. The bodies, everything was awesome. The faces were just like, I don't know, man. Great, but something's off. Nothing's off anymore. The faces match the quality of the best work. And faces, from what I understand, are hard. But he nails them, and you guys absolutely need to go purchase stuff from him. So, also donate to them and me, but also go buy his art. That stuff is ridiculously good. Speaking of that, he and I spoke last night about doing a fine arts podcast, and it's not going to be separate from what we already do, because I forgot the gaming one already. I forgot the daily doses. I forget this one. It's been busy here. Trust me, you nerds have no idea. But it's been busy here. But I think if I have a co-host and Higgins, I gotta get Higgins back. I'll text him after this. It's just been it's been a lull of shit, like real life. Um, but he and I are discussing maybe doing kind of a fine arts one, like an episode or two. I don't know how it would work. We'll figure it out. But it would be discussing the arts, because I know, don't you like the arts? I do. I like classical art. I like classical literature, music, all of that. I think would be interesting to discuss some of the history of it, because that's where I come in. I'm a classical literature guy, and I believe that was the spawn of Renaissance art and things like that, and will discuss why that is. But it's just that's coming down the pipe, maybe something that we look into, and I think it'd be interesting because that's a new side of Levi that I was unaware of. From what I know of him, it was like crazy liberal. Um, but it's much deeper, and like I said, the guy can fucking draw. Jesus Christ, you give him a pencil and he will give you a masterpiece. So I'm getting it on the ground floor because when he dies mysteriously, um, those things will be worth millions. They're very good. So yeah, I mean that's in the works. Thinking about it, diversify, but then again, real life will probably get in the way, and I'll be out in LA soon. Hopefully, I'll have a setup out there. I had talked to the Gypsy and get it scored away, but it needs to, because we need to do games and stuff out there. Um, yeah, that's the plan. Okay. Let's talk about stuff of substance. We're gonna try and only do one political thing, and that was today. The the Supreme Court ruled that you can't apply affirmative action to college admissions. Specifically, I think Harvard and UNC. Which, for if you guys don't know what affirmative action is, let me quickly explain it. It's a law that said you have to hire, apparently in college, enroll and do all this other stuff for black, brown, Asian women, basically anyone who's not a white male. And the basis of the law was like merits be damned. You need more black, brown women in the workforce or in your college. Okay. And it's a law. Like you had to do this. Okay. And people will tell you, oh, no, it wasn't that. But that's exactly what it was. Affirmative action made you hire less qualified minorities. And I'm even going to put women in that because at the time they were minorities in the workforce. You have to hire less qualified minorities over qualified people. Okay? It's just, it's the dumbest fucking thing in the history of the world. Well, it's not it's one of the dumbest. Because, again, I'm a true believer that we're a meritocracy, which means you get where you are based on your merit and not the color of your skin, your sexuality, your gender, shit like that. But a lot of people would have you believe that we had to have this law in place or, black and brown people and women couldn't succeed. Okay, we can discuss why that is later. But today the Supreme Court said, hey, you cannot admit people into college based upon that shit. And that's important because what Harvard and UNC and a lot of other schools were doing, where they were denying students, potential students, you know, access to their college because they were white. And they were accepting lesser applicants because they were black. And it was they were, again, this is a lie that they were not equal applicants. For instance, let's just say there's a white guy with a 4.3 out of college, at a high school. He didn't get into Harvard, but the black kid with a 2.0 got into Harvard because he was black. That's how they were doing it. And that's wrong. Okay? You should get into college based upon your merits. Now, the argument would be said that, well, black people don't have the same opportunities, all that garbage, blah, 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 all that shit. And the Obamas came out today and were like, well, the only reason we got into these good schools was because of affirmative action. Fine. We can accept that. But we should also deconstruct a little bit on why that is. Like, do we want, I mean, we have this now, but is this something we want? Do we want lesser doctors just because they're black or brown or a woman? I mean, it's like the old adage, it's not an old adage, but it's a new thing of pilots. I don't give a fuck what color, race, gender, sexuality the goddamn pilot is. I want him to be able to take that plane off, fly it to where it goes, and land it. Him, her, I don't give a shit. But I want the most qualified person. And whoever that might be, that's what I want. I do not want a diversity hire to be my pilot, my surgeon, the next generation of students, anything like that. I want a pure meritocracy that you get in to school, blah, blah, anything based upon your merits, like what you've done Are you qualified for the position? And I want the most qualified. I don't want, are you qualified? Yes. This person is more qualified, but he's white, so we don't want him. I want the most qualified. I don't care about anything else. Now, on the other hand, if the black guy or the brown guy or the woman is more qualified than the white guy, you should absolutely hire them. But I do not think you should hire people just because they're black. That is exactly what the current regime does. I mean, look at the Muppet. That chick is a lost ball in the tall weeds. The press secretary, the Muppet, Jean Pierre Paul, whatever. Okay. If you think she got in based upon merit, you're a fucking moron. She is there because she's a black lesbian woman. And she does a horrible job. She is the worst. I thought Jen Psaki was terrible. And I know it's not Psaki, but I say it because she is not. She is 1,000 times better than the Muppet. Kamala Harris is the vice president because she is a black Latino woman. She also slept her way in there, but not important. I mean, actually important, but again, these people have no business being in here. They're just there because of the color of their skin. And Martin Luther King said, I want my kids and everybody to be judged on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. But we're literally going back to segregation and handing people shit they don't deserve because they're black, brown, or a woman. And today's Supreme Court said you can't do that in college for college admissions. Now a bunch of schools came out and said we're going to do it anyway, which again is stupid. But and people are like, well, Dutch, we have to do this because everyone doesn't have a fair shot. Actually, everyone does. There is no law any longer that discriminates against black or brown people. There's actually a law that discriminates against white men, and it's called affirmative action. And the left, they won't accept that. And while I leave Iron Iron in good graces, I'd love to ask him about this. Like, I mean, what law is against black, brown, women, any of that? There's nothing. Well, Dutch, they grow up in. Okay, but that's not a law. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing our government is doing. Well, there is, but that's a different discussion. But there are no laws that are preventing these groups from excelling. But there is a law that's preventing the white man from excelling. Affirmative action. And today the Supreme Court shot it down. Now, I mean, we can argue that, welfare is holding the black man back. Well, that's a Democrat thing. Like I mean, again, they're not on your team. And it's time that you all understand that. They like keeping you where you are. Okay, but there are no laws that do that. There's no systematic racism. That's not a thing. That's made up. It doesn't exist. It's illegal in this country for that, except if you're white. And then you can be discriminated against because you're white thanks to affirmative action. That's exactly what it is, and there's no way around it. Now I know that the liberals will do mental gymnastics to get away or to get around it because there's a whole bunch of them saying like, "Well, no black people will ever go to college again because of this." No, that's not the truth. What this only says is that you will get into college based upon your merit, like the work you've done. That's it. Which that's how everything should be. And you can work hard in inner city schools and you can still do all that. Okay? Well, they don't have good teachers. Well, that blame the teachers union. I mean, that's fucking easy. Holy shit. Well, they don't have this, that. Well, I mean, maybe look at the nuclear family. Not exactly where I wanted to go with this, but yeah, I mean, this is nonsense. Good for the Supreme Court. Way to stand up and um, do that. They also, on Monday or Tuesday, did something that's Colorado specific, that some guy was like stalking or harassing a musician on Facebook, and a third party determined that what he was saying was bad. So he got convicted about that. And the Supreme Court says no, you cannot have an apparently objective group saying that what another person says is good or bad or threatening or not if the person who's saying it doesn't explicitly understand that it's threatening. Which, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. Um, I don't think we should have a third party determine things like that. That's, I don't know, apparently objective. I don't know. That's a weird one because we also have objective parties like a jury that decide things, but it's like mens rea, like you have to have that means guilty mind. So to break the law, you have to like know you're breaking the law and keep doing it. It's like sin, to commit a sin, well, at least Catholic Church, you got to know it's a sin and keep fucking doing it. So, mens rea is a little different. Like you have to, a reasonable person would think that it's against the law, so if the person sending, and again, threatening to one person could be not threatening to another. And that's where we get into the gray area. And all the Supreme Court did was just say you can't have a quote objective, and it's very quote objective group make that determination. I mean, this was the group that isn't a jury. Okay, so the jury should probably be the objective group who makes that decision. That's a constitutional thing. Um, so it's again, I mean, we're slippery slope. I know I keep saying that, but man, back in the days, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Um, which I still agree to that. Like, come on, someone calls you a name, brush it off. If someone says I'm gonna kill you, I don't know about that. Someone's like, I want to wear your skin. I don't know, man. Those words don't hurt you in that moment, but that might be a prelude to I am actually going to wear your skin, which then would be a crime. But if the person had said that and we had nipped that in the butt prior to them literally wearing the skin, that. But then again, are we gonna just arrest people? It's kind of like I can't remember the movie, or there's shows about it too. That like some people know the future and like you're going to kill someone, so we're gonna arrest you for that murder before you do it. I mean, can we do that? I mean, now we do, which is insane. Not specifically the murder thing, but threatening text messages, Facebook shit, threatening people is a crime. Words are certain words are a crime. I don't think pronouncing someone's a crime, which Michigan's about ready to like $10,000 and 5 years in jail. Holy shit, that's fucking crazy. That is like if you call someone by the wrong name, which is that's essentially what it is. I forgot your name, so now I'm fucked. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Super weird. Yeah, it's just it's crazy. Okay, let's do a couple other things, maybe less political. Nope, it's still gonna be political, unfortunately. So somebody on the Twitter. This is not going to be political. Nick Huber. Huber? I don't know. Sweaty startup. Nick, you're a fucking retard, and I think you're a liar. So Nick posts a picture of a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle that's got a good bit missing, maybe like a quarter, next to a glass with some ice, a lime, and then a caffeine-free Diet Coke. And the caption is, "A friend sent me some bourbon that's supposedly pretty hard to find. I think it's my new favorite." Couple things, buddy. Where do I start? Pappy isn't great. Let me just say that. It is super hard to find. It's very expensive stuff. Thousands of dollars a bottle. It's not great. It's really overdone with the oak and the smoke. It's like drinking smoke and dirt and oak. It's not good. It's okay. It's good. It's not $3 grand good. Also, I don't know who the fuck your friends are, Nick, but if you're not a bourbon or a whiskey guy, no one's gonna send you that bottle for you to splash with Coke and lime for that matter. Holy fuck. You ruined that. Also, there's more missing from that bottle that's in your glass. I think you're lying and you're just yeah. This is just dumb internet stuff. Now, other side of the coin, I'm a firm believer in drink what you like. I like Evan Williams. If you don't, I don't give a shit. That's you don't have to drink it. And I'm a firm believer in not giving people shit for what they like to drink to an extent. But if you're splashing a $3,000 bottle of bourbon or whiskey with lime and diet caffeine free Coke, man, I don't know. And also calling it supposedly pretty hard to find. Like, no one's going to send you that unless your friends are equally dumb, which it's possible. Which, maybe you should have to take a test before you can buy Pappy, but I don't know, man. It just, that caught me and it was dumb. Secondly, moving on. So, there's a viral video circulating around where there is a white guy who is accosted by a black guy with a knife. Like, this black guy has a knife and he's threatening the white guy and his family. Okay? And the white guy calls the cops. And it's important that I'm saying white and black because it's part of the story. Normally I wouldn't. I would just say some moron is threatening people with a knife and people called the cops. But it's important because the cops show up and arrest the black guy. Yeah. I mean, I would hope they would. If you're threatening someone with a knife, I don't care what color skin you are. You need to get the fuck out of there, man. You need to go to jail or whatever. Detox, I don't know. But then the white guy starts literally, not figuratively, literally fucking crying because the cops arrested the black dude. He's begging them not to arrest the guy. He was hoping that the cops were just going to show up and shoo him away. I don't know, like a pest or a nuisance. And he's crying because he's making it about race. Like, the guy's going to think I called the cops on him because he's black and I'm white. This is what the left has done to us. This is worse than the masks. Like, the people wearing masks and still believing in COVID. Crazy. This is even worse. This guy is literally breaking down in tears because the cops arrested someone threatening his family's lives over because he apparently sees a race issue. And he's like, oh my God, I don't want you to arrest him because he's black and I'm white and they're going to think it's about race. It's not about race, motherfucker. It is literally about a dude with a knife trying to kill your family. Doesn't matter what color he is or you are. But the media and the left, this is what they've done. They, you find racism in places where it's not. And I just don't know how you're still on board with this. It's fucking crazy to me. This dude is crying to the cops not to arrest someone who's assaulting his family with a knife because the color of their skin. That's insane. What am I missing here? And it's only the left that has done this. They're the race baiting psychos. And if you don't believe it, look at affirmative action and everything else they do. Holy shit. Okay. No more politics. Last thing. Finishing up here, man. All right. So football is kind of around the corner. Actually, no, but we'll do sports, but here we go. Okay. So last week the Rockies lost 25-1 at home. The Rockies are a baseball team. They are the Colorado Rockies, and they were in Colorado, and they lost 25-1 at home. It was like 24-0 in the fourth inning. Okay. The stadium was pretty full. And I mean, that's like the beatdown of the century. I Googled it. I didn't get a whole bunch of, but it's like the second worst loss since 1900. Like there was a 33-3 loss, which is a 30-run differential, but I didn't watch either game, so who knows? Okay. Now, the fallout is happening. Kind of. It won't matter. For two reasons. So the fallout kind of is happening. It's like some people are like, I'm done. Well, it's about fucking time. Jesus Christ. They have been the worst team for a long time, and now you're done? Okay, good. Better late than never, is what I say. Secondly, then there's some other people that are like, I still support them no matter what. Those people are the problem. Okay? Or they're part of the problem. Because, I mean, that's like, somebody chops off your leg and feeds you to some rabid dogs. You're like, oh, I still love you. Okay? Then at that point, you're just being willfully ignorant and stupid. Okay? And because, again, I know that a sports team is for entertainment, but winning sports teams are entertaining. Losing teams are not. And if losing teams are entertaining to you, you don't know the sport you're watching and you're the problem. You're, well, this is new. Let me just say. Okay, that's a huge, huge problem. No one wants to watch losers except Rockies fans. Because they're still like, oh, ride or die. Party deck. Okay. So that's one reason it'll never change is because dumb people like that. And I understand being a fan, and I've talked about this 1,000 times, but at a certain point, you gotta be like, hey, man, you could be a fan and no longer give them money until something changes, like ownership. Okay. But if you keep going to the game just to watch them get their asses kicked because it's a social event to you, which that's what it is, you do not tell me. Mm, do not tell me you like baseball if you're a Rockies fan who still pays money for those games because you don't. It's a social event for you. You like the party deck, you like Coors Field, you like hanging out with your friends, you like $12 beers, Rocky Dogs, and you like shit like that. You're not a sports fan. Okay? No one pays money to go watch their team lose 25-1. No sports fan. And fine, if that's a social event for you, great. Although I would suggest you find different social events. Okay? Like go spend your money somewhere else, like at a club or a movie or something like that that you know, people don't have to suffer through. Um the other head of the coin is that the Rockies play other teams, obviously. And fans get to go watch their team play the Rockies at a nice stadium in a nice state for sometimes a discounted price because the Rockies are so terrible. And that's another reason why ownership isn't going to sell because, there's a lot of times that there are way more opposing team fans than Rockies fans, like Cardinals, Dodgers, um, Padres, all those teams, basically any team other than American League stuff, unless it's Yankees or Boston. But yeah, it's dominated by like it's a home game for the Cardinals, the Dodgers, Giant when they show up, Cubs, people like that. Okay, so the ownership still makes money off that game because the other teams fans buy tickets to watch their team beat the brakes off the Rockies. Um, but I don't think that's enough to sustain the team throughout the year. What what helps is that, but it's also stupid fans that are like, "Oh, ride or die." It's like, no, man, come on, that's fucking embarrassing. That is beyond embarrassing, and you're not a real fan. You're just a moron who goes to an overpriced social event. Stop supporting shitty anything. They'd be like, well, Olive Garden fed me cockroaches, but I just love it so much that I'm just going to keep going and eating cockroaches. That doesn't make you a fan of Olive Garden. That makes you a moron. And Olive Garden isn't going to change. They're going to continue to feed you cockroaches because you're going to continue to eat them because you're a moron. You're an idiot. And that's what the Rockies do. They continually feed you shit. And you're just like, okay, yep, this is delicious shit. I'm just going to keep going because I'm a real fan. No, you're not. You're a dumbass. Okay? And you're the problem. Stop going to the games. Stop paying money for this shit. If you bought a ticket to that game or any Rockies game in, I'd say, the last 10 years, you're a fucking idiot. Unless you're the opposing team fan. Because, you want to see your team beat a high school team at a discounted price. Can't blame you for that. Especially if you live here. If you travel, I don't know, man. If you travel and you're low on funds, I agree with that. That's like preseason games, or for people who can't afford regular season games, especially NFL things like that. No problem. But if you live here and you're a Rockies fan, stop supporting this team. You're a fucking idiot and you are the problem. 100%. And I know you don't care if they win or lose because you're not a sports fan. You're an idiot. Again, you're the one that eats cockroaches from off. And wait a minute, I'm not saying Olive Garden has cockroaches. I'm just using it as an example. Okay? If they did and they fed it to people and people ate it, Rockies fans would continue to eat the cockroaches. They're the dumbest group of fans in sports, minus, and here we go to the end, Broncos fans. Holy fuck, man. I'm a lifelonger. I'm a true Colorado sports fan with all the reasons we've already talked about 1,000 times, blah blah blah. The transplants are the fucking problem. Okay? And the people who don't, again, they think it's a social event or just cool to be a Broncos fan or something like that. Case in point, Russell Wilson. That dipshit posted a picture on social media of him working out for a couple minutes doing some really weird stuff. Like he's on like a, I don't know, it looks like a piece of glass or an ice or where he's like sliding back and forth. It's only like 10 feet long. Okay. I don't know what particular activity that is that relates to football, but I don't care. There clearly it does. Well, maybe. Who knows? And then he does some other exercises with this thing. And my point is that posting videos of your workout as a professional athlete is dumb. Now, for a couple reasons, it could be, like if you're trying to motivate people, things like, but, you know, after last season with Wilson, which was arguably the worst season that any quarterback has ever had in their fucking life. Maybe Ryan Leaf had a worse season, but holy shit, he was fucking awful. And I believe it's because he doesn't care about football. Football pays him because the Broncos are morons and signed him to a $250 million deal before he even played a fucking game for us, which that it's in itself is inherently stupid. But I think football for him is an ATM to do what he really cares about, which is be on the red carpet with his wife. At the Met, at the Graham, crap totally unrelated to football. He wants to be at Wimbledon, the French, the US Open. He wants to do all this other stuff, then play football. He wants to be famous. Just being Russell Wilson. He doesn't want to play football and win and do things like that to be famous. Because if he did, he wouldn't have had last season. Because last season, and the Broncos were fucking bad last season. They had a terrible line, a arguably bad defense, and people were like, oh, they're so good. No, I'm not buying into this shit, okay? They were all around a shitty team last year. But by far the worst person on our team was Russell Wilson. He was unbelievably horrible. Again, I'm not sure a professional has ever had a worse season. Maybe Ryan Leaf. And he was fucking probably cracked out of his mind. But he was so bad last year. I honestly could have done a better job. And I truly believe that. Well, that you're not again, he was not a professional athlete last year. He was a Vogue runway model. It was horrible. Okay. Now, we've all made fun of him because he was doing like lunges and tinies and sprints on an airplane. Stupid. Like, did you not get enough practice during the week? Like, what are you doing on the airplane? Why are you not just relaxing before the game? That's A. B, who the fuck is filming this shit? Like, is it him who's saying, hey man, film me? Which then he's a dipshit. Or is there some guy that's like, oh, I gotta get Russell Wilson doing this? Then he's a dipshit. Or the workout video of him doing this, I don't know, the slide master. That's what I'm gonna call it. Did he set this up and be like, baby oil me, make me look sweaty, get a camera, film me doing this workout that seems unrelated to football? It seems more like he's working out his groin and not like pumping groin, like stretching side, but trying to do the splits. Okay. So was it his idea to film this? Was it whose idea A was it to film this? B, who were the 50 people down the pipeline were like, oh yeah, keep filming. Good idea. Let's post this. Let's put this on the Twitter. It doesn't instill confidence in me at all. I still think you're a prima donna bitch. And until you win 12 games, I will always think that about you. I don't think you're good at football anymore. I don't think you were that good in Seattle. I think you were I think you were a system quarterback by definition. Prove me wrong. I think the Broncos really fucked up with you. Prove me wrong. Your dumb little workout videos aren't going to do it. Now all the fans, the trannies, and I mean transplants, not tranny man, who were like, "Oh, he's working so hard." I don't think he is. I think that was all fake. I really don't. You want to work hard for me, Russell Wilson? How about throwing it to the right fucking person? Let's start there. How about not being a slow piece of shit? Now, I'm not a master of running mechanics, but side to side is not that. You want to get faster? Sprint. Then put your little parachute on, some weights. I don't fucking know. Stronger legs. That weird little slide thing ain't it though, man. And I mean, it's not for me. So yeah, sports. Rockies are fucked. Broncos are fucked. Avs had a good draft. I think that Moulton, is that his name? He wasn't a draft, but he was part of a trade. I like it. Got a lot of confidence in the Avalanche. Nuggets, dude. We repeat next year. I mean, unless the NBA fucks us, which I mean they probably will. But I mean, we have everybody coming back, and no team has made any move that's like, oh, the Phoenix Suns made moves, but I mean that's another like building a super team with no chemistry. They're gonna lose again. They're pathetic. They're the fucking Broncos of the NBA. Mm. That's probably the Lakers because that's the other thing. Like LeBron said, he's mad at Mike Malone for some shit, and now he's motivated for next season. So does that mean you were unmotivated this season? I mean, that would be my motivation too. Like you guys got swept by the Nuggets, which in hindsight, duh. I mean, they're the best team in the NBA by a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Yeah. Well, I mean, the people, those of us who watch the Nuggets knew that was going to happen. Okay. ESPN, the media, all that were like, oh, no, no, no. Lakers got this. And ridiculous Laker fans like Higgins. Come on. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Football. I mean, I'll watch the Broncos, but I'm not gonna watch them get blown out and score. That was the other. I don't know if this is true or just a joke, but the 25 runs the Rockies had scored against them were more points than the Broncos put up in a single game all of last season. I don't know if the Broncos scored over 24 points in a game. I didn't care. I turned most of them off because they were so bad. And again, it's not because I'm not a real fan. It's because I'm a realistic person. I'm not going to support shit. I'm not going to support someone who feeds me cockroaches and pisses on my leg. That's what the Broncos and Rockies currently do for their fans. And if you keep supporting them, fine. I I mean, more power to you. Just know you're a fucking moron, and it's not going to change because of you. You are the actual problem. You're the Gemini of this. You're the I don't know, Batman's friend or Levi's friend who commented and fucked it up for everybody. You are the reason. He'll be like, "Oh, I'm a true fan of the podcast." No, you're not. You ruined it for everyone. You're not a true Rockies or Broncos fan. You ruined it for everyone. You ass. All right, that was fun. I'll fix the overlays tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Another podcast. Um, we'll work on the fine arts one, things like that. Man, I don't know. The games are just. I've been playing ESO off. Well, I haven't recently because I've been busy. But I mean, if you guys want to watch that stream, let me know. But it's more of just me focusing on playing a game I like. I'm not gonna play only up. I know it's a trend, but Jesus Christ. That is where we are at 2023. A game where you literally just climb up. That's it. That's the game, man. Call of Duty, I mean, that's fucking dead to me. Destiny, man, I miss All Iron Banner last week, but I've watched some stuff about their microtransaction stuff, And it made a really good point that, I mean, that game is hundreds of dollars a year to play for nothing. Like, it hasn't changed in 5 years, and we're still paying for just dumb shit. Seasonal events, battle passes, or yeah, whatever, season pass, DLCs that are short lived, Crucible that's fucking broken beyond belief. I mean, I'll still pick it up and play it, but I don't know, man. Elden Ring, we might be too far gone on that. A little too close to ESO. Diablo, I need help on Diablo. I need someone to fucking explain Diablo to me, and then I'll play it. And I need someone reliable. Not everybody else who's like, oh, I'll be there, I'll be there. So yeah, the gaming stuff's kind of on the back burner. And the podcast, like I said, I mean, we'll still do the gaming one because there's still tough stuff to talk about. The kick thing, that's nuts. What's going on with them? Um, the Nick Mercs thing. I mean, I check every once in a while. Nick and Doc and maybe Tim still haven't touched COD, which I'm very proud of them for that. Like, I'm stick to your fucking guns, man. You know. But there's other things going on too. Like, I mean, with the Bungie stuff and this whole Activision, um, Microsoft acquisition. Let me do some research on that, and we'll talk about that because that's political, that's business and gaming. I mean, that's a big, big fucking deal that might happen, which will be. It's not only like, I mean, it's game related, obviously, but that'll be like a business thing. Stocks like a real thing. I mean, bordering on some antitrust. I think that's what they're arguing now. But yeah, I'm all right. That might be going the Dutch does gaming or whatever the fuck that short one was. Daily doses. It's hard right now. I'm too busy. I have too much shit going on. I'm literally up at like 5, and as soon as I get up, we're going 1,000 miles an hour until the time I go to bed, which is going to be in about 3 minutes. So, it was fun while it lasted. I appreciate everyone listening. I apologize about the overlays and stuff. I don't know what happened. Things just went wonky. Like, if you notice, there's no socials up there, but if you follow the socials, at Dutch the Beast. Yeah, that would help. It'd be great. Um, the West of Nowhere KNOW wear would be nice too. Check out Shane and Levi. They're good guys. Levi's. Fuck Shane. I don't know. And we are gonna do the cornhole thing. I don't care what anyone says. We're doing that, and I will destroy him at everything. But until next time, and I don't know how this end is gonna go because I didn't preview the screen. But until next time, I appreciate everyone watching. Bye.